Assalamu alaikum, Brother Corey.
Bismillah, assalamu alaikum, Cheikha. How are you?
Doing well, thank you.
I mean. Better late than never. Look forward to the class tonight.
Ashe, for sure. That yeah, we'll give everybody a few minutes to get in here.
That's perfect. I'm cooking dinner. I'm just gonna listen in. Dead and Jeff. Dead and Jeff.
All right, that. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome in everyone who is here, who've already tuned in. Sending you lots of love and light. Nur Nur. Giving it a few minutes. All right, y'all. I like to stay on time, stay on track. I'm gonna go ahead and open us up with our Fatiha. And then after that, I'm going to take us through the weird of the butterfly. And then I will get into our chat tonight. Happy Juma Mubarak to you. And we'll be talking about fall and winter protocols, health, and things like that, how to stay healthy this season with all of these different pandemics that they're planning for us. So I want to make sure that we stay covered on the health side and know how to combat those things effectively. All right. So here we go. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen, ir-Rahman ir-Rahim, maliki yawmiddin, iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in, ihdina siratal mustaqim, siratal ladzina an'amta alaihim, ghayril maghdubi alaihim, waladdallin. Ameen. Okay, so for those of you, let me see if I can do a share. I'm not sure here or not, but I do want to post the weird of the butterfly for us. Here we go. There we are. Okay. So we go into our Fatiha 4 times. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta alaihim. Ghayril maghdubi alaihim. Waladdallin. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta alaihim. Ghayril maghdubi alaihim. Waladdallin. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta alaihim. Ghayril maghdubi alaihim. Waladdallin. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta alaihim. Ghayril maghdubi alaihim. Waladdallin. Ameen. All right. Salatul Fatih. One time. Allahumma salah Sayyidina Muhammad al-Fatihi li Muhlika wa Katimi li Sabaka Nasiru Haki bil Haki wa Hadi ila Sarati ka Mustaqim wa ala Allahi Haki Karihi wa Mikdarihil Athim. Amen. 66. Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim. Here we go. Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, 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 Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim. Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, 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 Yaratman Yarahim, 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 Ya Latif, Ya Aziz, 66 times. Ya Latif, Ya Aziz, 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 Ya Latif, Ya Aziz. Bismillah. Ya Hayyu, Ya Qayyum, 66 times. Ya Hayyu, Ya Qayyum, 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 Ya Hayyu, Ya Qayyum. Amen. Now we will do 66 Yawadud, Ya Allah. Yawadud, Ya Allah, 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 Yawadud 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 ya Allah. Amin, amin. 66, La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah, 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 la ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah, 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 la ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah, 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 la ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah, 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 la ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah, 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 la ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah, 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 la ilaha illallah. Bismillah. And Salatu Fati, Allahumma Salah ila Dina Muhammad, Al-Fatiha li Mudlika, Wahaki, Timasabika, Nasi Real Hockey Bill Hockey, Wa Hazi Lisari Timu Mustaqim, Wa Alahi La Haki Kari He, Ma Wa Mi Dari Hill Athene. That is Jeff, that is Jeff, that is Jeff, Sheikh Sufi Ba, that is Jeff to Sheikh Salihu, that is Jeff to Sheikh Amadou Bamba, that is Jeff to all of the sheikhs, all of the amazing sheikhs before. Giving thanks and praise. Thank you for all being here. Thank you for all being here. All right. to move this, right? Send love and light to everyone here. Sending love and light. So we're going to be talking about fall and winter health protocols. Let me see who all is in here right quick. Right, shout out to everybody in here. Check Ibra Fall. Give thanks to everybody. So first of all, the last time I addressed you all, we talked about bombitations. So I wanted to kind of chime in about that before we move into talking about the fall and winter protocols. So I will say for myself, opening up this conversation about the bombitations, me working with that, what I've noticed is that I am experiencing a lot more light coming into my person. Feeling more energy, more energetic. I've noticed that I don't have to sleep as much. I have cut down my sleeping to probably about 4 hours at this point, and I'm full of energy. I literally can't sleep that much. And even then, it's more so like for that 4 hours, it's kind of like cat naps here and there. I just feel an immense amount of surges of energy that I've been experiencing. I've been having certain parts of my body vibrating off and on, especially my feet and my legs, especially when I'm outside and I'm walking on grass or sand. It's like I can feel the energy, the Kundalini energy of the earth, like in my feet and in my legs. So there's like this vibration that's happening in my lower extremities, if you will. And even when I'm inside and I'm not outside, I still experience these vibrations in my legs and in my feet. I've also noticed being able to recall and remember my dreams more is another thing that I've noticed that's been happening. And also, manifesting has definitely been moving a lot faster, as quick as I can think it. I've noticed my psychic energy has opened up a lot more. As soon as I think about somebody, they're calling my phone, or they show up extremely fast. So I've been definitely noticing some changes along those lines with doing the bombitations, which does take a lot of focus if you're counting up your vertebrae, or if you're choosing to do the silver cord portion of the bombitation meditation. So that has been my experience, as well as receiving downloads and uploads on a whole nother level. It's very quick. It's almost like it reminds me of Neo in the Matrix, when they would do the download thing where, okay, I need to learn how to fly this helicopter right quick. And so they'll hit him with the download, and then he sits there and receives it. And then he can just sit in the driver's chair and start, maneuvering. And now he can fly this helicopter or whatever. So it's kind of akin to that, in the sense of, it's like, okay, but just me asking about certain things that I want to create or manifest or want to understand better on a deeper level, taking that into meditation and asking Allah directly for a particular download. Can I have a download about this particular thing or whatever, has been pretty profound for me. So, that's my sharing on the bombitation that I have witnessed in myself and in my person. At this time, I would love to hear if any of you have tried the practice over the course of the last month, and if there's anything that you would like to share as a part of your experience to the group at this time. I'm opening up the floor for that. Anyone would like to share something? Don't all go at one time now. Okay. So, did anyone practice the bombitations at all? Maybe you just didn't practice the bombitations. So, if you are not familiar with the bombitations process, that was what my Friday Darrah class of last month was all about, which is posted on the International Cheikha Amadou Bamba, the new YouTube page that we have that Sheikh Sufi Boss set up. So if you go there to the the Sheikh Amadou Bamba International Sufi School on YouTube, you can pull up that video from last month where I talked about the bombitations, and it's pretty deep and pretty profound because what happened was this was a download that I received. Just give you a quick overview right quick, but I'm not going to go all the way into that because I want to stick with what we have to talk about. So I don't want to take up too much time on this. However, but I did want to talk about the follow-up, which I mentioned the last time for anyone who practiced it to come back and share what their experiences have been. So the bombitations that I call it is basically some zikr enhancement practices that was given to me, I would say, from Sheikh Amadou Bamba directly through a meditation, through a download that I received. And so there was two meditation practices. One was in relation to the spine, because we have 33 vertebrae, which 33 is a master number. So basically the premise of this was the fact that we have zikr beads, so to speak. We have aspects of the physical self and the non-physical self that we can use as zikr beads. Okay, so because our vertebrae in our back has 33 vertebrae, I was taught in this download how to count the 33 vertebrae in relation to zikring. So it doesn't actually, necessarily affect like if you do a zikr that's 111 or 1011 or something to the, 482 or 486, if you're doing something like that, you can still count down. You're counting your vertebrae in your mind, so to speak. Because if you feel down the center of your back, you feel that there's humps in your back, and that's your 33 vertebrae. So 33 is a master number. And our spine connects all of our energy centers to our chakras and everything. And those nerves that run down our spine is dispersing the zikr light and energy throughout the body. So it's just an enhancement to what we already do. It's not a replacement, it's an enhancement. So I want to be very clear about that. So the other one that we talked about was the umbilical cord, but more so the energetic aspects of the umbilical cord, which we call the silver cord or the silver line. This is the cord that connects us to source, to the light that keeps our body animated with the energy of what we call life. Okay. And so once we exit our body, that silver cord or that silver lining is then detached. So that's, when we leave our body and, our flesh goes back to earth, right? And our spirit moves on to whatever's next, reincarnation, moving to different realms, whatever that looks like, for us once we leave this body. So that was what the bombitations were. And so please do go and look up that video so that you can familiarize yourself with it on the new YouTube channel. Okay, so moving into what we're talking about tonight. So we're pretty much in fall, winter season now. The reason why I really wanted to talk to you all about this particular subject has to do with the fact that, number one, we're still not quite out of C-19 territory, if you will, and they're telling us that there's more to come, and because fall, winter is large intestine and lung season. Okay, you have to understand every season has a correlation to particular organ systems. Okay, so the organ system that we're in right now is large intestine and lungs. Okay, so this is why we call fall, winter flu season, cold season. This is the time where people tend to have a lot of bronchial issues, lung issues, and also digestive issues. So we're going to address some of those things with some things that you can do to keep yourself and your family safe, and putting things in the body that's going to build up the immune system to help you fight off a lot of this foreign matter that is going on, at this point in time. So between the flu and C-19, bird flu, whatever else they're throwing at us, at the end of the day, I want us all to be clear and understand that nature always has a cure. Nature is always the answer. Okay. Food is medicine. Herbs is medicine. Crystals are medicine. Prayers are medicine. Zikrs are medicine. Okay. Spending time in nature, fresh air is medicine. Sunshine is medicine. Moonlight is medicine. Grounding is medicine. Okay. Everything has a propensity to be medicine if you look at it in that way, and shout out to Oracle Carolyn, because I'll talk about this the next time. But of course, I've already kind of spoken. If you don't have the Sword of Light book, please do order this online. I think Sheikh Sufiba might have posted it a couple of times in the group, which I couldn't find it, but I was trying to send it to someone. So I'm not sure where it was. I went through all the group media and I couldn't actually find it. So I'm not sure if it ended up being deleted or not. But one of the things I want to say about this is I was looking at this title last week. I don't know, I got stuck just looking at 786 Sword of Light. And it just got me to thinking about, the fact that we're in this spiritual war right now, what they may call the conjure wars, where we're fighting a different kind of war. Even though we can see physical wars going on, the reality is underneath all of that, it really is a spiritual war. And some of this stuff that we're being presented with on the surface is really the illusions to throw you off the path of thinking and knowing that we're in a spiritual war. So when we were on our women's Ya Latif women's Zikr call last Saturday, one of the things that I was talking about was, what do you bring to a spiritual war? You bring a sword of light. That's what you fight with. Your sword of light. This is a tool that we can use to fight a spiritual war. You don't bring a physical sword to a spiritual war. You bring a sword of light to a spiritual war. So that's why these powerful Sufi prayers from Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba is so important to us at this time, to look and see the knowledge and wisdom and insight of Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba over 100 years ago, and prepared readiness for us in now times. Because of course it's way worse now than it was then. But yeah, use your sword of light at this time. That is your saber, your saber of light, right now. This is how you cut down and cut into the things that want to hurt and harm you and those that you love. This is what you cut down these jinns with. This is what you cut down, these negative forces that want to mislead and misguide and teach you all forms of trickology and tricknology. Use your sword of light. That's what it was given to us for, and it works. And we have way too many examples of it working to question if it works or not. We have way too many examples. I know there's people on this call that have examples that they could share. I know that you know other people that have shared stories with you. We know the stories of Sheikh Amadou Bamba and what he was able to do with these sword of light, with the sword of light energies and prayers and zikrs. So that's what we're fighting with right now. As long as you got your sword of light, it helps you be able to fight anything physical when you need to. All right. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Now, let's talk about this fall protocols. First of all, I want to read this. It says, what is the medicine for sin illnesses? You take the root of penitence and mix it with a leaf of repentance. You put them in a mortar of soul and pound it with a pestle of oneness. After sieving it through a sieve of mercy, you make a dough out of it with tears, and you bake it in the fire of love. You then mix in a bit of affection and honey and eat it little by little, morning and evening, with a spoon of modesty. I thought that was pretty profound. So I'm going to read some things too. So we're going to talk about prophetic medicine, okay? Human bodies are made of earth, air, and water. Angels are made of light. Jinns are made of smokeless fire. Knowing this, you can understand what you're dealing with at any given time. Human life is sustained by earth, food, water or beverages, air or respiration. Proper eating habits for sustaining life. The proper way to eat, according to the way human beings are created, is to eat per meal 1/3 solid foods to build up physical strength, 1/3 liquids to unite the food and fluids to create nutrient-rich blood, and 1/3 air to energize the blood to move the digested foods throughout the circulatory system, feeding all of the cells of the body. On the contrary, if we eat too much solid food till we are full, it stresses the digestive system. If we add fluids to wash it down, so to speak, we hinder the ability to break down and assimilate the food, properly creating indigestion and the precursor to high blood pressure. This in turn causes breathing difficulties, pain, and distress throughout our body system, hindering our body's ability to sustain our life or to prolong our life. Epidemics and plagues. Regarding mass sickness and disease known as epidemics or plagues, these occur mainly during the autumn season due to the predominance of mustiness in the air. When we say mustiness, that's kind of like saying, you know, things slow down and become a lot more still during the fall and winter months. So it tends to kick up a lot more things that are in the air that are just kind of sitting there, not really getting moved around as much. But petrification and toxicity in the air, which can be curbed by wearing masks over the mouth and nose to decrease the amount of airborne bacteria. People who are experiencing being overweight and are only slightly active and eat excessively are most susceptible to inviting disease of this nature. Let me go back and clarify the wearing of the mask over the mouth and nose, because I know that that's a conversation a lot of people don't want to deal with. But I want to remind you of something. Way before we had this pandemic, okay? And I can attest to this. In 2016, I went to Beijing, China, and that was a few years before the pandemic started. But if anybody knows anything about Asian culture, they have been known to wear masks forever. That is a culture that are very serious about not taking in toxins and things like that. But aside from that, because, you know, China is the country that produces basically everything else for the world. Most of our textiles, clothes, food, products, furniture, yada, 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 is all made in China. So they do have a lot of manufacturing plants and smokestacks going a lot. So there were clean days where we didn't have to wear masks. And then there were the days where they were doing the most production where they highly recommended that you wear a mask. When you go in the buildings in China, they have air filtration systems in all of the buildings where the air is very clean and very pure and very much different from the air outside. So these are people that have always worn masks, but you also have to remember that traditional Chinese medicine also has a lot to do with the understanding of protecting the nose and the mouth during certain seasons. This is not to say that we have to wear, that you even have to wear a mask at all. This is not saying you should wear this all the time, or I'm really trying to separate this from the pandemic aspect of wearing the mask over the nose and the mouth. I'm trying to separate this and give you something different, to a different perspective of where this has already been happening before we had these pandemics. You know, other cultures have understood during the autumn, fall, and winter months that it's actually helpful, you know, in some aspects, because this is pneumonia season, because this is flu season, and because there are a lot more pathogens that tend to be in the air sometimes around this time that can affect you and your bronchial and your lungs. Sometimes you may need to do that, especially if you stay in an area where people tend to get sick a lot often or around you. So separate the two. We're not talking about this current pandemic. We're just talking about certain things in correlation to fall and winter. Okay, so talking about water, in particular, hot water. Drinking water primes your body, cleanses the vascular system, flushes the body of toxins and poisons, removes dehydration, flushes poisons from taking medications. Okay, that's really important, because if you take a blood pressure pill every day or anything like that, there are poisons that is in that medicine, because allopathic medicine or Western medicine is not synergistic to the body. What am I saying about it not being synergistic? It's not synergistic in the sense that it's an isolated form of medicine. So they've isolated and taken certain constituents from the herbs that they grow this stuff off of in a lab setting. So you could take something for your heart, and because it's not synergistic and because it's an isolated chemical, this is the reason why you can take something for your heart that can have a negative or adverse effect on your kidneys. You know, you take something for your kidneys and it'll have an adverse effect on the heart or the spleen or the liver or something like that. I remember years ago, a friend of mine caught a nail fungus and went to the doctor, and they gave them a prescription, but they ended up giving them two prescriptions. One was to address the nail fungus, and the other was to protect their kidneys, because something that was in the medicine for the nail fungus had a negative impact on the kidneys. And I'm like, wow, you know, so drinking a lot of fluid and a lot of water, specifically warm or hot water, really helps to flush out those excess toxins that come with those medications that you need to get out of the body, because you do not want those excess toxins to find a home in your organs. You don't want that. So I wanted to clarify that. So drinking according to your activity level, as drinking excessive amounts of water with little activity causes sickness as well. We have to understand the body has a balance. There is a such thing as taking in too much water, and there is a such thing as not having enough water that causes you issues as well. So over drinking water, it taxes the kidneys and the liver. So you're over processing and you're draining. So actually, when we drink water, we're actually not supposed to, because let me tell you how the body processes water so that you can get the best out of your water intake. We're actually not supposed to just guzzle down a half a bottle of water or 16 ounces or whatever. You're actually supposed to only take in, you know, maybe about a half an ounce of water at a time, which is the equivalent of about 3 or 4 sips. because your body can process that more. Like over the course of the day. Okay, so let's just say, you know, for the most part, you may be awake for at least 12 to 14 hours of the day. You know, people say, oh, you should try to drink a whole gallon of water a day or half a gallon of water a day, which personally, I can tell you, and just based on body physiology, no woman should be trying to consume a whole gallon of water a day. If anything, women should be consuming, you can consume up to a half a gallon of water a day safely without overtaxing your body and your kidneys and your liver. Men can handle more of a gallon of water a day because of the muscle mass and the testosterone. And men's bodies tend to process things a lot faster than women's bodies. So men can handle a lot more fluids per day than a woman can process. Okay, so if you're a woman, you're trying to get a gallon of water in, you're almost drowning yourself from the inside out. And you're overtaxing your body. So over the course of the day, you should just be sipping. You know, you can just sip, take some sips over the course of the day until you get through all of your water, as opposed to saying, I'm going to sit down and drink this whole 16-ounce bottle right now. It's really too much. Even with how we take vitamins and things like that, you know, people say during this time of year, you know, we talk about vitamin C and B vitamins, multivitamins, you know, all of these kind of things. While that's fine, but a lot of people speak a lot, especially when people get past a certain age. Like once you get into your 50s, doctors start to recommend, because of like, you know, bone density being an issue with aging and things like that, osteoporosis and things, they'll say things like, oh, you need to take up to 3,000 plus milligrams of vitamin C, which is crazy because honestly, your body can't process more than 1,500 to 2,000 milligrams of vitamin C a day. If you consume more than that, your body just flushes it out in your waste, in your urine. You don't even keep it. It's not saved or collected anywhere in the body. So don't overtake vitamins. You know, that one day, trust me, it's enough. You know, taking a couple of vitamin C pills, it is enough. You don't have to be excessive with these things, because when these things break down on a macro, micro level in the body, it still has to be broken down. It has to be useful. So if there's an overabundance of it, you know, it's going to flush out, you know, so you do have oil soluble things that don't flush out of the body and tend to stick inside the body. And then you have your water soluble that tends to break down a lot more. So this is the reason why a lot of people will say, don't consume too many oils, you know, especially like vegetable oils, fried foods and things like that, because those are, you know, oil soluble things that tend to stick inside and become problematic over time. So we're really not supposed to heat up oils, you know, so when you fry stuff in vegetable oil or soybean oil and things like that, it turns into a carcinogen in the body. So what we're trying to avoid is the buildup of carcinogens in the body, because when we breathe, when we eat, when we do different things, you always have cancerous cells in your body. The difference is if your body is functioning properly, it gets rid of those cells. It neutralizes those cells. It neutralizes those poisons and things in the body and kicks it out and gets it out through the process of either perspiration, you know, or through your bowels or through your urination. Okay, so what you don't want to do is have this stuff accumulate and collect in the body. So this is one of the reasons too why the warm water, coming back to that, why the warm water is so important. When you drink cold water or ice cold water, you are shocking your body. You may not feel that shock, but your body goes into shock because your body is almost 100 degrees, like 98.6. So here you come and you want to drink water that's 50 degrees. So now you've shocked your body. So now your digestive system has to go through the process of heating up that water, which is not healthy. So when we drink warm water, it breaks down the poisons, flushes out the excess medications and things like that. So it helps with, your digestion, because cold water also adds to gastrointestinal diseases as well. It also goes towards creating flatulence, indigestion, acid reflux, gastritis, and things like that. So when we drink hot or warm water, and that's another thing. When I was in China, when you go to restaurants, they automatically bring out hot or warm water in a pitcher with sometimes there's slices of lemon in there. When you're drinking your warm water, when you wake up in the morning, before you put anything in your body that you deem to be breakfast foods or fruit, oatmeal, grits, whatever it is that you eat in the morning, before you eat anything, you should have a cup of warm or hot water. I would say take it as hot as you can take it. If you can, at the same temperature that you would drink hot tea or hot coffee, you can take hot water the same way. Now, understand that you really should be doing just straight hot or warm water in the morning, and do it again at night before you go to bed. You can do it midday. You can sip, if you have a hot thermos that you can carry around hot water all day and just sip on it, especially during the fall and winter months. It doesn't, nobody really wants to drink hot water all day in the summer months. I get that. So you should do room temperature, but you should still get your warm or hot water in the top of the day. But I wouldn't say you have to sip through it the whole time during the hot days. But what that's doing, it's massaging your organs and really breaking down impurities. But whenever you add something to water, your body processes it as a food. It's no longer being processed as water. This is why I'm saying I would recommend that you not necessarily add the lemon juice and, all these different things, because by the time you add a tea bag to it, or you add lemon or lime juice to it, now it's processing differently in the body. So if you want to get the best assimilation of the water for more so the purification aspect of it, for what we're talking about, don't add anything to the water. Just drink it hot as is. Now, later on in the day, if you want to do that and you want to add your lemon and your lime, your and all of that kind of stuff, that's something else. Because when you add lime and stuff, now you're kind of creating more of like an astringent kind of thing that's more alkalining for the body in a sense, but your body is still processing it like it's a food. It's not going directly into all of your cells and everything, which is the difference. So when you add those things, now it's going more so through the digestive process of the body being broken down as a food, as opposed to it just going right into your cells and right into your body and going through those cell walls of your intestines. So it's a totally different process. All right. So drink 1.5 cups of drink 1.5 hours after eating your meals. So we absolutely, and I'm guilty of it. I do it sometimes, but we're not supposed to be drinking while we're eating. You should be eating meals without any fluids. Why? Because the liquids actually water down your stomach acids. So that's why a lot of people end up getting GERD, other gastrointestinal issues, loose stool, all of these kind of things, because your stomach acid couldn't properly break down a lot of things. So now you have like a petrification that's happening in the stomach, a lot of high acid buildup that's happening in the stomach that leads to gas being created, the flatulence that I talked about earlier. So all these things are associated. I promise you, if you get on this regimen of drinking this hot water on a regular basis, you're going to see your skin start clearing up. If you have eczema and you tend to have a lot of skin breakouts and things like that, this is going to really help with all of that, because you're flushing out all of that stuff with this warm water, and the warmth of that water is going in there and it's loosening up everything so that it can flush and release out of the body. So you're going to see a difference in your skin. Your eyes are going to look brighter. You know, your oral health is going to be better. Your regularity, you know, is going to be better. And also what you'll notice, because if you are urinating and it's yellow and green a lot, that means that you're not getting enough water. That's your gauge. When you urinate, your urination should be clear. It should be clear. If it's not, you're not getting enough water. So that's your gauge to know if you're hydrated enough. Now, if you're taking vitamins and stuff, obviously B vitamins and things like that add a color. That's something different. But if you haven't taken any vitamins and things like that, you're definitely not getting enough water. For a second and read these. Okay. Does anyone have any comments or anything they would like to say? Okay, I think we're good. All right, so some of the things that is really, really good also to consume is olive oil, but cold pressed organic olive oil, a trusted brand, and it needs to be organic, because right now they really don't do a good job of regulating what's in these oils. A so-called olive oil product could have literally 10% olive oil in it, and the rest filler oils that could be sesame or soybean oil or whatever. And because it has that 10% of olive oil in it, because the way they label is so messed up, they can still technically label that as olive oil. So this is why getting organic kind of gets you out of that guessing thing, because these organic oils are regulated differently. So go for, anytime you're using any kind of oils, honestly, go for the organic if you can afford to go for the organic, okay? Olives are known for being able to cure 70 different types of diseases. And that's saying a lot. Olive oil also, it helps to cure skin diseases and scars such as psoriasis, eczema, and even leprosy. It can also be used in curing congested mucus in the chest and prevents pneumonia, to combat diseases caused by constipation, and for retarding sicknesses caused by aging, such as memory loss, high blood pressure, and arthritis. Consuming olives and this oil aids in removing toxins and poisons from the body, as it has a nature of binding to them and expelling it from the body through bowel evacuation. Due to its diuretic properties, it is extremely useful in dissolving and removing gallstones and kidney stones. Okay, so get you some good olives and some olive oil. All right. So I also want to go over some other little tidbits. This is soup season. And really, eating soup throughout the year is because soup breaks down extremely fast in the body. It's just digestive, and just the high liquid content is really, really good. So soup made of barley and beets is good for recovering your strength. 6 ounces of pomegranate juice plus 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar helps to reduce belly fat and clears the vision. Fenugreek tea is helpful in weight reduction as well as removing excess mucus from the body. Eating of smoked foods releases an enzyme within the stomach that causes stomach cancer. So be careful and eat that sparingly. Okay, so when we talk about smoked foods, we're talking about, barbecue, whatever. If you eating a lot of barbecued foods and things like that, understand that releases an enzyme in the stomach that can, create cancerous cells. So eat those kind of things sparingly. So ginger, eggs, and saffron act as a healing. So ginger, eggs, and saffron helps, as they call it, it helps as an aphrodisiac. So if you feel like you need help with your reproductive health and things like that, those are good things that you can eat. All right. And moving on with that. I also want to talk about, this season, if you notice, everything in fall and winter is all about pumpkin spice this and, pumpkin spice that. And everything is about these spices and pumpkin spices. And that's because those are spices that are extremely healing and warming to the body for fall and winter. So cinnamon, cardamom, what is the other side? Cinnamon, cardamom, any of the pumpkin spices, any of the chai spices, the chai teas, any of those kind of spices are extremely warming to the body, as well as cayenne pepper. Sprinkle a little cayenne pepper on your food during this season. That is extremely warming to the body, because during this time of year, we tend to put on a little bit of extra weight. Mainly because as it gets cold, our organs need just a little bit more fat to stay warm and to stay insulated for the body. So if you tend to be cold a lot, sprinkle some cayenne pepper in your food. Also, yes, nutmeg, sprinkle. You can actually, if you tend to have cold feet, sprinkle a little cayenne pepper in your socks, and that will actually help to warm the body as well. Be very careful not to rub your eyes, and stuff when you're using cayenne pepper in that way. So be very careful. But produce for fall season. Another thing you need to do is eat seasonal foods that are for this season. Okay. Because of imports and exports that have happened in the world, in the last 100 years, we now have access to fruits and vegetables that are not seasonal in your region or in your area. So keep in mind that watermelons are not really in season right now, but we still have access to it. So I just want to go over some of the foods that are specific to fall and winter season that we should be consuming the most of right now. Cucumbers, grapes, figs, cauliflower, acorn squash, Brussels sprouts, sweet potatoes, kale, oranges, pears, butternut squash, pumpkins, of course, apples, eggplants, pomegranates, and corn. Okay, also broccoli, butter lettuce, cauliflower, crab apples, cranberries, garlic, ginger, grapes, guava, Swiss chard, turnips, sunflower kernels, radicchio, pineapples, persimmons, pear, mushrooms, kumquats, key limes, leeks, rutabagas, all winter squashes, carrots, cabbage, kiwis, figs, and of course, dates are great for all year round. All right. So again, some of the benefits of warm water: weight loss management, improves blood circulation, assists with cold and cough, detoxifying the body, premature aging and pimples, healthy skin and hair, menstrual cramps for women, cures constipation and healthy skin. All right. So I had some questions in the chat. What about adding apple cider vinegar to water? Okay, so apple cider vinegar is extremely acidic. I'm more of a fan of adding lemon and lime juice to water. Apple cider vinegar can dilute the stomach acid. And I know a lot of people that get stomach aches from, drinking it. Some people drink it straight up, which I think is insane. You should always be adding water, adding maybe a half a shot worth or a teaspoon to, a cup of water. You don't really need a whole lot. Apple cider vinegar is not a bad thing, but it is drying to the system. It pulls moisture out of the system. So it's something that I would recommend people do. Like if you are not feeling so well and you want to apple cider vinegar does help break down, bacteria and viruses and things that can help with that. I'm not a person that would say take apple cider vinegar on a daily basis or all the time. but it does have its place. You know, maybe a couple of times a week. Don't overuse apple cider vinegar, and always make sure that you're definitely diluting it. But if anything, I'm more of a fan of kombucha products. If you really want to get that that probiotic aspect, you know, kombucha products and drinks, you know, they're in Kroger now and different places that you can get that is extremely helpful to the digestive tract. Listen, your digestive tract represents 80% of your immune system. So whatever it is that we can do to enhance our digestive tract is going to boost your immune system. So keep that in mind. So if you're having any type of gut issues, if you're suffering from any type of constipation, any type of loose bowels, you know, things like that, that means that your immune system is trying to tell you that it needs some attention. Okay. Constant tummy aches, you know, GERD, you know, gas, burping all the time. All of these are issues that your body is trying to communicate that your immune system is not up to par. And those are your red flags. You know, the intelligence of the body is, you know, when you have some things going on like that, that's your body letting you know that you need to do something. Some type of intervention needs to happen, because those are the acute signs. So if you don't address those things, then it moves into the disease states. And that's when you start getting into your cancers and you know, your diseases of particular organs, you know, organ failure and clogged arteries and, you know, all of these other things that can go wrong, you know, when you're not paying attention to your body giving you these red flags. All right. So moving on, I want to talk about what's called the micronutritive herbal blend. This is a blend that you can literally take all year round. It addresses like vitamins in the body. It helps build up the immune system and just a good overall internal healing. So the micronutritive herbal blend, you're combining 2 parts of peppermint for flavor, 1 part nettles, 1 part oat straw, and 1 part alfalfa. You can add a pinch of stevia or licorice as a sweetener, which is optional, and drink up to 1 quart of this tea a day for optimal results. Okay. So note, for this recipe, use roughly 1 quart of water for every 4 to 6 heaping teaspoons of the herb mixture. And you know, if you are on a lot of different medications and different things like that, typically herbs aren't an issue, but there are some herbs that can interact with your medications that can be a problem. So if you feel, or if you are on a lot of different medications, you know, I can tell you now, a lot of times you run this stuff by your doctor, they're probably going to say no. But if you're working with a doctor that's more holistic, you know, they'll be willing to understand and work with you with some of these things. So immune boosting herbs as well for this season is elderberry, ginger, astragalus, golden seal, dandelion root, echinacea, and sorrel. Oh, and somebody asked about herbs for stress in the chat. For stress, definitely chamomile tea. Chamomile is really good for another tea that's made out of what's called eleuthero. It's a little bit more harder to find, but it's really, really good for stress as well. So, but yeah, chamomile tea is going to be some, and also if you can get your hands on lavender tea and chamomile are really, really great for calming down the nervine system and helping you to be able to relax and release that any stress that you have going on. You know, but also meditating and grounding, those are also great stress relievers as well. All right, so I also want to go over some crystals that help build up the immune system as well, that are great to wear during this time of season, because this time of the year is when people tend to get sick the most than any other time of year. So we want to really make sure we get through this with as many tools as possible, since Allah has given us so many, we should be using them. So malachite enhances the immune system. Turquoise acts on the immune system to heal the whole body. Lapis lazuli boosts the immune system. Black tourmaline strengthens the immune system. African jade corrects the immune system's weaknesses. Okay, so if you have some weaknesses in the body that you know of, get you some African jade. Carnelian helps with pollen allergies and cold, and fluorite helps with colds, flu, and strep infections. This is also strep throat season. Okay, so if you get strep throat, gargling with either Himalayan salt or sea salt is going to help a lot with that. Even gargling with diluted apple cider vinegar is also really great for gargling with if you catch a any type of throat infections or strep infections and things like that. So you want to gargle with those kind of things. Okay. And then I also want to end off, because we're getting close to me ending this. So I want to talk about neem oil. Oh my goodness. If you don't have some neem oil in your house, go get you some neem oil. Neem is antimicrobial, it's antibacterial, and it's antiviral. Okay, but I'm going to tell you how you really use this, because if you're going to consume neem, because neem is extremely bitter, it's almost hard to take it in a liquid form. And I'm telling you now, no children are going to want to take this in liquid form. And most adults, I don't take this in liquid form, and I'm an adult, but I'm going to tell you how to get the most out of your neem. There are neem teas that you can purchase. Neem leaves, you can purchase that. A lot of times the neem oils are usually more so made from the bark of the neem tree. So anytime you're dealing with the root and the bark of a tree, that's going to be where the most potent aspects of the medicine of that tree, the most potent constituents, are always going to be in the bark and in the root. The leaves are always going to give you the least amount of medicine or medicinal constituents. Okay, so if you get a neem tea, it's going to more than likely be the leaves, which are not going to be as bitter. It's a little more tolerable. So definitely get you some neem tea if you can get your hands on it. I think the Alveda brand does a neem tea that I can recall off the top of my head. You don't tend to see as many brands do it that much. But I know the Alveda brand is really good about doing singular teas that's not necessarily a blend when you just want one particular herb. Okay, so I'm going to walk you guys through how to keep your nasal passages. So this is ear, nose, and throat infection season 2. So I'm going to show you how to effectively use neem in the body without necessarily having to consume it. So what you want to do is you want to use this finger right here, okay, the one next to the pinky. This finger right here. You're gonna dip your finger in and get a little bit of coating, not a whole lot, but just enough to coat. Okay. And what you want to do is it's a thin layer. So to protect the nose and your sinuses, you're going to do a light coating inside of your nose like this. Okay. And then you'll do the other side. All right. And you're going to want to wipe your finger off. All right. After you come out your nose. And then you want to get another coating. And what you're going to do is, because now we're trying to address the ear, okay, the eardrums and things like that. So you're going to do the neem in your ear, the right side, and then you're going to do the neem in your ear on the left side, okay? And then, because aspiration also feeds the body herbs. So when you do any kind of, if you've ever done essential oil inhalations, you can do the same thing with neem oil. So I put some of the neem on my hands. It's a little stinky, but it works. Okay. You're going to rub just a little bit. You don't need a lot. You're going to rub that and you're going to put your hands over your nose and you're going to inhale the neem right into the lungs. That's going right into the lungs to go in there and get that antimicrobial, antibacterial, antiviral. So if you have something going on in your lungs that's trying to develop or multiply, breathe in that neem, breathe it in. And do that for a few times, and then after I do that, especially because neem is so good for the skin. Look, India and Indian women will tell you that neem is just the bomb.com. And you can just, whatever is left on your hand, you can just rub it into your skin. Just rub it into your skin. Don't waste it. Rub it into your skin, rub it into your hands, and you can cover up the smell, put on, some oils, put on a little oud or something like that. And the smell actually will go away after about 10, 15, 20 minutes. It's not a lingering smell. It just smells like that when you first apply it. And then, you can put on a little oil right behind it and, it doesn't give off a scent like that. So that's one thing that you can do to work with the neem. The other thing is a lot of people don't know ghee. Ghee is basically clarified. It's cow's milk, but it's kind of clarified, but it's clarified butter. Some people cook with this. I don't cook with it, but in the fall and winter months, because when we get in the coldest part of the season, which is usually somewhere between December and January, our nasal passages can get dry. And so you would just take a little bit of this and rub it inside of your nostrils. And that's going to help also keep the body warm and keep your nostrils and your sinuses from drying out. Okay, so you can do that as well. And you can alternate that with days with your neem if you want to do the ghee. I don't really recommend that you mix up the ghee with the neem. Either use one or the other, because one kind of moisturizes, and then one is more antibacterial, antimicrobial. So we don't really want things fighting each other. We want things to work with each other. So we don't mix up everything just because it's there. So certain things have certain protocols. All right. So that's pretty much what I want to talk to you all about. Going over those protocols. So at this point, is there any questions or comments or anything anybody wants to share? All right. Well, then, on that note, someone speaking?
Assalamu alaikum, Cheikha.
Wa alaikum salam. Sheikh Idris by the building.
Just wanted to thank you for those timely, healthy advisements because we need that right now. I was particularly honing into that spice during this time of season with the pumpkin and the cinnamon. A lot of times they have what's called the cinnamon brooms that people use during this time of the season. So all of that is good for the immune system. It's also good to have it as a aromatherapy remedy as well.
Yes.
And it's good to help to keep our system strong. So all of the tips that you gave were very, very essential and necessary tips. And I thank you for that.
Give thanks. That is Jeff. And what you just brought to mind. So of course we got cloves, we got allspice, we got star anise. That's also some really great spices as well. And you know what? And because you said the aromatherapy aspect, if you have a essential oil diffuser, get you some cinnamon oil or clove or, something that you can burn in your home, or even incense, that have those scents. But I remember on the old school level, I don't know if y'all remember this, but I remember in school, they used to teach us, they would take an apple and then they would press cloves all around it. And then you could sit that in your house and that would give off this like wonderful, apple clove scent, for a few days. So, I that brought me back to that, we got to get back to doing those kind of things, for sure. So give thanks on that. Brother Corey, your hand is up. Did you have a question?
Yes, Bismillah. You said something about what was the herb? I'm sorry, I missed what you said. The herb for cold feet, because that's an issue that I deal with. Was it cayenne or I forget? I'm sorry.
Cayenne pepper. So if you tend to, you can sprinkle cayenne in your socks, like in your shoes, and that'll help. And also consuming cayenne pepper as well is very warming to the body, right along with ginger. Consuming ginger tea, eating fresh ginger. I'm always about the fresh stuff. The fresher the better. So if you can, juice fresh ginger, that would be good. Like if you could do ginger, and lemon, in water, that's extremely warming to the body. Even doing even if you do like lemon water, you can sprinkle some cayenne pepper, do lemon water, warm lemon water with cayenne pepper in it is extremely warming. Ginger, you can boil ginger and make a tea of it, sprinkle some cayenne pepper in it, and drink that as well. So all of these things are going to help warm the body, warm the organs from the inside out. And you'll notice that, as the days go by, you may not feel as chilly, or have as much cold extremities. So yeah, if you tend to have like cold feet and cold hands a lot, you could use some of those warming things for the body. Anybody else had a question or comment?
Yeah.
And checking to see in the chat. Okay. So if that is all and no one has anything else they would like to share, I would definitely like to say here in this class today on this wonderful Juma Friday. I always love addressing speaking with you all and growing and building, and just congratulations again to all of the sheikhs and sheikhas with the Jaza ceremony that we had. Let's just continue to do the work and build and do the khidmah, and stay close to the work. Stay close to the work. Stay close to the khidmah. Never let a day go by that you don't do something that builds up your spirit. Never let a day go by that you don't do some form of prayer, some form of zikr. Do your best to do something every day. I like to say that a little bit is better than none. Doing a little something is better than doing nothing. And you start with a little and you build it up. You do more as you go. Don't feel bad if you can't get as much done, because you have whatever, do something, but never not do nothing. So I'll go ahead and close us out in prayer. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Irrahmanirrahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta alaihim. Ghayril maghdubi alaihim. Wala dallin. Ameen. Nur to everyone here. Peace, love, and light. Assalamu alaikum.
Ameen. Salam alaikum. Darrah Jeff, Cheikha Zema, LoveFire. Very informative. Give thanks. Give thanks. Love and light. More love, more light, family. Give thanks.
Salam.
Salam.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you. Shukran.
Alaikum